Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Prospero.ai stock market live streams. We are seeing a quote unquote rip your face off rally going on in the stock market. Although the second half of the trading day today, has not been as rip your face off as the trading it was that started today and was yesterday. QQQ NOS up to 6. Break out the champagne, said JC. Hold on, not so fast just yet, JC. We are seeing a little bit of a give back in the second half of the trading day today. Although the QQQ is still up 1%, SPY up over 0.5%, Dow Jones 0.5%, and Russell as well. So everything in the green. The VIX is shooting up now, though, spiking up almost flat on the day. Now, we have a lot to discuss on the streams today. Be sure to drop a like if you are excited for the topics. We are going to have the Brady Bunch back in action at 3:45 today around. So Matt and Brent will be joining us, and we'll go to the quad box for the stream. But before we get there, let me take you through some of the topics. I think George is going to be in here rather early today, so if we just have to skip in right to them, we will. But to start off, discussing the rally, we have a Trump speech tonight at 9 p.m. I don't know. You can let me know in the comments whether you're watching on Twitter or YouTube. You think this is going to be a bullish event or a bearish event? The Trump speech. I'm not sure which way it's going to go, especially with the second half of the day today. I'm wondering if we're about to drop a hammer tonight on the markets, but we shall see. There's going to be a speech regardless. We also have recession odds going down, which is also surprising to see given the fact that oil has risen and all the effects of the ongoing tensions between USA and Iran. Surprising to see that recession odds have gone down since then. We have Apple turning 50 today. I will share it to you the revenue each decade for Apple, which is crazy to see when you scale out to like a full 50-year history for a company. And I think it's easy to get lost in like the year on year, but when you go to that long of a sample size, it's crazy the amount of growth. And I'm going to ask George, what company, when the revenue thing starts, it's going to be under 10 billion. What company, at around 10 billion or less revenue today can be a company that has as much growth as Apple had in the past 50 years in the next 50 years? So we're going to be looking on a huge long-term projection there. We have official numbers from SpaceX and date. It has finally officially filed for IPO. We'll discuss just how much would SpaceX need to drop for Warren Buffett, the best value investor of all time, to get invested in this company, because it's going to be coming to the market at a pretty big premium. So we'll get into that. I have a quote from CEO of Beyond Meat. Beyond Meat has not done well in the markets since its debut. Down again today. It looks like a final tirade from the CEO. We'll discuss why he is so upset with American society, as part of his quote. Or what he said about the company. So we'll be getting into that. Then we have a Google research prediction for quantum, its effect on crypto, specifically Bitcoin, and then how Google is planning for the coming quantum technology themselves, the timelines for it. Quantum stocks were so hot at the end of last year, really cooled off. So maybe a time to get reinterested in them. Then we have OpenAI with another round. So we covered that story where they were offering 17.5% guaranteed returns for companies. It looks like they were actually able to raise a round, which valued them at 852 billion and values them more than 6 like all-time classic brands and companies, which I will hold off on mentioning until we get there. But it's pretty crazy to see that, a company that really just came into the forefront a couple of years ago when ChatGPT launched is now bigger than like all of those companies combined. NW's in the chat. What's up? 6. It's a rager. What is 6? Is that how many likes we have on the stream? I hope it's not how many people are in here. I hope we have more than 6 people. What's up, NW? Welcome to the stream. Then we have a few Discord questions to go through today. We will be talking about how to interpret a volatile net options sentiment time series graph. So the time series is in the Prospero app. When you scroll down on like a stock towards the bottom, it shows you a little like 2-3 week history. So if you have a net option sentiment that's going from 20s to 80s to 50s to 90s to 20s, like all around, Oh, the net option sentiment from JC for QQQ. Gotcha. How are you going to interpret it? The QQQ is not a good example of a volatile net option sentiment graph, nor is the SPY, which has been pinned at 0 for the longest time. We will also discuss if anything is going to change with the China stocks if the tax war cools down. We know Trump and Xi Jinping are meeting in May. And the last Discord question we have is about Public, a privately held brokerage firm, rolling out a AI investing feature, which is automated. So we will get George's opinion on that. Speaking of SPY QQQ, let's see if SPY has moved off 0. I checked earlier today and it hadn't. And now that the market is dropping a little bit from its highs of the day, I would imagine it hasn't budged a bit. Let's see. All right, pulling up SPY. No surprise, we are at 0, so no change for net option sentiment for the SPY. QQQ is still at 6, so a little bit of an increase there from 5. I was thinking, oh, it looks like QQQ is actually giving like on the time series graph, it's giving a percentage between like 4, it's giving like 4.24, so it's giving like the decimal point. I was thinking George should like do a super zoom on SPY and like scale up from 0 to 1 to like and make that like 0 to 100. So move the decimal and see if it's moving at all or like what's going on there. Maybe we have to change the scale for SPY with it being pinned at 0. Okay, let's check out XLI and XLK net option sentiments as well. XLK is currently at 25 and XLI is at 20. So they are at decent levels right there. Hold on one second. I got to text Matt. He'll be joining us today at 3:45 along with Brent. There we go. He was asking me. All right, let's check out some of the stocks that are moving in the market here and just how much. I saw Meta was on a tear the past 2 days after looks like it hit peak fear with the whole court case lawsuit ruling and just massive pullback for it. Wow, although things are really starting to kind of give back a lot. Apple's in the green today. Amazon's in the green today. Meta, which was up over almost 3.5% at one point, is now up just 1% on the day. What's up, Nick? Welcome to the stream. Nick saying hello to everybody. How you doing? What else? Microsoft is red. Tesla is green. So if you want to know which is the weakest Mag 7 at the current moment, it looks like Microsoft is the only one in the red. So I think that's an easy thing to read from the market today. Nvidia is green as well. So mostly green day. Bitcoin hasn't really bounced much, even though the stock market has rallied. Still at 68K and only at 0.06% today. So not much of a move for the Bitcoin. Really is not getting any kind of bullishness at the moment. Let's see how the space stocks are doing now that this SpaceX IPO is official. Well, officially going to be happening. ASTS is at 84.64, up 2%, rallying off the lows. George has joined us. Hello, George. Welcome to the stream today. I was all set to start the stream and talk about the rip your face off, quote unquote, rally that has been happening in the markets. And we're still in the green today for, all of the indices. But ever since about 1:30 today, kind of sold off and given back most of the day's gains, kind of back to like the opening levels of the day. But we have been covering a lot of the bearish things happening in the market. A lot of our signals have skewed bearish. Did this rally catch you off guard at all, or were you expecting it? I know we shared in the newsletter on Sunday, which I also shared on Twitter yesterday, the stat we gave about how institutions have been buying throughout March and retail was selling, so kind of a little bit of a bullish indicator there. But anything surprising to you with just how fast the market has rallied on Tuesday and the first half of today?
I mean, I think we're seeing what the concern was in the afternoon, where it's just like we keep getting these like the war is over rallies when it's not over. I was planning on trimming today regardless, but maybe I should have trimmed a little earlier. I mean, I saw QQQ net option sentiment up to 6. That's crazy. It's like I feel like that's close. I mean, I think it was higher earlier in the year at times, but yeah, in the last few months that might be a high. Um, but yeah, I think I don't know. I said I wasn't going to overreact to this upside, and I think I did um, a good job of that. But it's it's challenging. We're at the end of the day, we're kind of being even long short. We're doing what kind of being even long short happens. Where we're kind of treading water. Um, but I definitely I'm definitely nervous. I think the market might react very positively to Trump's conversation about the war tonight. But I think the other side to that is uh Iran has been playing the media game too. And I think we could see them come out and dispute some things and send it the other way. So I definitely it's kind of interesting and difficult in that I think we, especially with net option sentiment numbers and feeling like they led these events pretty well. I got pretty comfortable, as comfortable as one can be, I think, in reading the Trump news cycle. But now that there's kind of like this other force to dispute claims, um, I definitely think that that it's uh, it's a lot tougher to read. It's a lot tougher to read, and you almost kind of, if you're doing it smart, you almost have to kind of play it pretty even, um, long short, which I just think is given the twists and turns, we obviously started, even though we pointed to the institutional flow, we started the week more short than long, and that certainly wasn't good for us. So yeah, there's a lot to read here, and it's not an easy market to read, but you can't be too secure in just what the kind of American narrative is, um, which is a change, right? Like normally you can be like, okay, Trump says something like this, or there's a certain amount of security in the numbers. Like you can at least play it for a few days, maybe a week, and be pretty secure at taking more risk. But that does not look like this market.
So Nick mentioned in the chat how Nike is down, and your comments on Monday are a little bit prophetic. They're actually going to be our short this afternoon on our socials, so good timing there. But I do want to follow up also on your point about these headlines from Trump and Iran. It is pretty insane the fact that the market seems to be trusting the statements from Iran as much as they do from Trump. Like the times we're living in are wild. And even though their trust is equal, I feel like the trust is low all across the board regardless. It's like a kind of a boy who cried wolf situation. Um, you think the market is tired of getting gaslit, and it's just kind of these headlines are having less and less of effects as they're going on?
Well, I think it's just as much about agency than trust. Um, in that when Trump says something, he does reverse, but there's a good chance that it comes to fruition, or at least there's an attempt to make it come to fruition. The problem with this is that Iran has a vote in this piece, and we can't no matter how much we pretend we might be able to, we can't bully them into submission. And I think sometimes you just have to Occam's razor these kinds of things. And I think it's pretty easy to say that um if ground troops were going to get us somewhere in some kind of definitive way, we would have sent them already. The fact that we haven't sent them, I think, is a display of the respect um, that we have for the other side. So yeah, we're not in control of the situation. So you have to take Iran's word for it. Personally, I can't remember if I was having this conversation Monday night with a few of my advisors or on the stream. Kind of blends together. Um, But personally, for me, what I think is I think China is starting to kind of put pressure on, like, want to talk about peace more. I think I was talking about this on the stream. And I think that's what ultimately is moving the needle for the markets versus, like, like Iran, the US, posturing, serious. They both have, a vote, but like neither one, on the other side, like, if this wasn't also hurting Iran, like, they just it would be easy for them to be like, we're never going to surrender. We're not going to do this, right? Like, fuck off. Like, we'll see you in a year after you felt some pain. But they're not saying that. Like, they're interested in peace on their terms as well, much like us. And I think it's ultimately going to be China who cares very much about the global economy. And if you think about the the price component for China, right? We buy a lot of stuff from China. And, inflation in our economy, trouble in our stock market hurts them, just as much as it hurts us. So they don't want to totally destabilize things. And I think they enjoy us getting some egg on our face for sure. But, I do think that they're going to increasingly kind of use their diplomatic power, and they buy a lot of oil from Iran, and they could certainly force an end to the war if they said they weren't going to buy oil from Iran anymore. Like, that's a card that I don't think they're going to play.
One thing I was shocked to see is that recession odds have now gone down to the lowest point in the past month. They were as high as 40% and now hitting 26% today, and really dropping in the past day or so. So I guess they're buying the fact that the war may be coming to an end very soon. Maybe that's what's going to be said in the speech tonight. Who knows? But we've been talking kind of about the lingering effects that are going to go on, even if the war did end like today, with the effects that have already happened with oil. Are you surprised to see that recession odds have gone down so much recently? I would think they would
No,
just
I mean,
be sticking.
when I say the markets, right? That's pretty much what I'm talking about. Like, the recession odds, I think them going down is a function of the perception that China has started to put their thumb on the scale about a resolution to it.
Interesting. So who's calling the shots? China. I guess it seems like in this, which is wild.
Yeah, I think at least through back channels, China probably knows what the US wants for peace, so they can kind of bridge the gap there. Maybe make it be like they can give up. Iran can feel like they get like one concession, and then they just play diplomacy. It's not too different than the role the U.S. plays in other conflicts as a superpower, and I think it's kind of like I don't want to offend anyone here, but like the behavior of especially like Venezuela and now this, the US is kind of acting like Russia acts traditionally a little bit. And then China is kind of coming in kind of like the US traditionally comes in, like, yeah, let's all get along. We got economic interests here, and then like uses their power that way. Not the best look for us. I mean, especially if you even think about like the difference between like Iraq, the conflict that people are kind of considering this most like similar to because of like the WMDs. The U.S. got a coalition for that, right? And there's a role in diplomacy, both in how the story is perceived around the world, but then also your ability to win the war and get what you want. It's way easier with a larger coalition of nations, even if you just think about it from a naval perspective. like the thing that Trump is calling for. Like we only have so many like ships. If we had a lot of different navies, we planned, there were sanctions, um, give them opportunities to like surrender their rich uranium um, before you actually have the conflict. That's the kind of thing that helps you win and get the outcomes that you want. This, like, even even when even if you take that this was a necessary war, like you can still say that we could have done a better job, like building a coalition and making sure we knew much better what we were up against with the Strait of Hormuz.
So I think it's a good time to turn to a Discord question we had, which was about the China stocks, the Pinduoduos of the world, Alibaba, Baidu, all of them. Do you think if not only the war, but we know that Trump and Xi Jinping have this meeting in May, do you think we're heading towards a situation where those stocks will be back on watch lists or maybe even buy lists in the near future if things and tensions and all of these like trade disputes, tariff disputes calm down? And maybe there'll be some of the better stocks in the second half of 2026.
Yeah, and I mean, I think the nice thing about like those like kind of consumer cyclical like value brands is that if the war, like if we get stability, more stability that the war is going to end, I think people are going to buy growth first. And I think that's an opportunity to start buying that kind of consumer cyclical.
Would you have any opinion of whether to go Mag 7 or like large cap tech China? Do you have a preferred?
Um, I mean, I think I always like Mag 7, like
Mhm.
or just like US over China. Too hard.
I'm pretty surprised to see that Microsoft is actually in the red today at this point. But most of the Mag 7 stocks are still up, although they're down off their highs of the day. One of the Magnificent Seven companies just turned 50 today. And that company is, I think, your favorite of the bunch, Apple. Jokes, everybody, if you've missed the streams. They're not the favorite. But there was a cool stat given. I got to pull up the photo for Apple of their revenue over the past half a century. Um, so I have from 1996, 9.8 billion, 2006, 19.3 billion. Then the growth to 2016 was insane. They went up to 215 billion, so basically a 10x in revenue over 10 years, which is wild. And now today at around 420 billion, so another double in the past. Well, that was for 2025, but in the past 10 years. When you scale over 50 years, it's insane how much to see like these companies can grow, especially if you're a leader in like a booming industry. I'm wondering, is there any company today? This started with Apple around 10 billion, so we could maybe inflate that a little bit for today's dollars, maybe up to like 20 billion revenue. But any company you see today that's like a little bit on the smaller side, where you see like a full half a century of growth ahead. I know that's super hard, but there's got to be something that comes to mind. And I think it's an interesting topic because we kind of keep things a little bit shorter term here. So to think of something on that long of a scale is interesting.
Yeah, I think um I mean this is pretty unoriginal for us, but I think something like ASTS is one of the reasons that we like it. Um because there's such a limitless capacity for broadband applications. They talk about like the military applications. It's phone. It's like I think devices are going to be increasingly smart. Smart, and the broadband requirements are going to go beyond phone. um and then there's just like, I mean, I was kind of just like wondering. I was like, is there a limit to satellites you can have in the sky? Like, I think you can kind of put them at like slightly different levels, but how long? I mean, there's got to be, in this, I guess they're gonna have AI in them too. Maybe they can
I don't know.
avoid.
Space is pretty big too.
Yeah, but I like, but also like if they start to like, kind of line up in the orbit, like, like maybe they start to get, I don't know, like out of the proper gravitational field. Like I think if you get too far away, but they have like propulsion things. I don't know. That's above my pay grade. But we wanted a little too far. ASTS. And then it's interesting. In the short term in nuclear, I always talk about the miners. Which is like, miners, like an enricher of uranium, like LEU. But I actually think in the long term, it's a company like Oklo. But like, because I think the reactors are that's the biggest, especially small ones to power data centers, etc. Like, I think um, that's something uh, that I think even now, I mean, I don't know. It's kind of an interesting question. Like, I definitely think we're over, like, I think the amount of uranium that's needed to power the SMRs are way over. Um, so yeah, um, I definitely think that like a company like Oklo, I prefer to like a miner long term, but in the short term, I way prefer the miners because we don't know how far away those are. Um, and then the other ones you got to go to are the quantum computing companies, right? Especially with the story that we're about to get to. Those are the ones that, I know we've been shorting them a lot this year. It's funny to like turn around and say that. But yeah, I mean, if you think of the way the hyperscalers are going, like the amount of money that you can charge for, like, if you think about the compute capacity, like, I don't know what these quantum computers, but early versions of them, if they work, they're going to go for like crazy, crazy numbers. Like so crazy that like you could probably sell like 10 of them. And maybe that's your revenue. Like that's your revenue number right there. Like is like $5 billion a crazy amount to pay for like a quantum computer that replaces like a lot of your other compute? I don't think so. That actually sounds cheap when you put it like that, especially if you're a startup. Um, but yeah. Um, EOS was suggested, like, yeah, I mean, there starts to be like a pile of ones that I think, um, I think I do think batteries are interesting, but I'm not sure. The problem with the battery technology um, is that I'm not sure we've cracked that yet, and it might be a different startup that ultimately wins um, the battery race. I'm not that confident that they have the solution yet. A robotics is the other one, but I can't really call out. I'm not really confident enough to call out a robotics startup yet. But that's the one I think everybody should be looking for some kind of inflection point because there's going to be so much hype around it.
Yeah, so interesting. Your point on quantum of like the amount of compute you could get from one quantum computer. I wonder if the infrastructure build out that's happening today is it going to be like a ghost town in a decade if quantum computers are, 100 times, 1,000 times, whatever the percentage is, like more powerful than computers today. Will you even need all the build out that's currently happening? There was a story, like you mentioned, that I want to bring up about Google researchers um, giving a scary stat for Bitcoin specifically and crypto about how they believe that quantum is in just a few years going to pose a serious risk, and giving it a 10% chance that by 2030, quantum computing will be able to crack Bitcoin's blockchain in under 9 minutes. We have seen Bitcoin kind of start to lag even as the market is rally here. I wonder if people are really starting to get nervous about the future of Bitcoin, but even just crypto blockchains, especially with quantum looking more than ever like it's coming soon. And this was out of Google, which I would feel like would have the best insights on where the technology is headed. So, how much credence do you give to that story? And is it time to pick up some of those Ion Qs, Rigettis, those quantum stocks again?
I looked at all of them. They're at very interesting price levels relative to what they are. What I'm officially saying about this is I do think there's another leg down. Um, if uh, I do think there's another leg down if the war continues. That's the thing. But those are very even like right now. It's very good prices on those quantum names. I think some of them are like more than I think Rigetti is more than 50%, and it looks better in our signals. That was the one that was kind of like standing out. 50% below the high. Um, so that seems like a big opportunity, even if you have to wait for more security. Um, but I also think that you could form a pretty good short portfolio that's like overweight kind of safer shorts and then has um a few of those like parabolic longs. Like instead of something like ASTS like we had, like something like Rigetti that just has a lot more room to rebound than ASTS. Or like that's why we went for like PPTA, for example.
Hmm. Yeah, so I just looked, they're down like 75% from the highs. So a big drop off there. NW commented, robotic startups, can we revisit that in a future stream? Yes, for sure. I will get a nice list for us. We can go through whether they're public or private, but the best in the biz. Um, Another burgeoning industry I wanted to bring up. We've been talking about them a lot because SpaceX has been in the headlines, but space industry, it's official. The filing is in, looking like it's going to be in June for as high as 1.75 trillion. Now, I saw a statistic that SpaceX is currently doing about 15 billion in revenue. And I know all of the coverage for SpaceX is basically going to be bullish with all the hype for it and the clicks it drives. So I wanted to kind of speak more bearishly about it today, or actually give a bear case for it. I think that's healthy for us to do. And I was wondering when I saw that 15 billion revenue number, so it's going to come public at about 100 times revenue at least. Like, how much would that stock need to drop for the goat of investors who has retired, Warren Buffett, to get interested in a company like that? In my head, I'm thinking like it would have to literally drop like probably 90%. So, like, what is the floor for a company like that? And do you foresee like a high chance that it drops after the initial hype wears off for it?
I mean, I think a 50% drop could happen. Um uh if like the momentum takes it, but I do think it would rebound, pretty quickly too. Um I mean, it would like at a 50% drop, it would still be untouchable for Buffett. It's just not his like, and I don't think he like, when he talks about these kinds of things, it's not even a knock on them as a company. It's just a knock on the way people value those types of companies.
I always wonder, is it the world we're living in where like information is so accessible? Is that why companies like this are able to sustain higher multiples because the future is more projectable and more people know how exciting these companies are? Like, I think it's hard to not see SpaceX doing like 100 billion or like 500 billion in revenue like 10, 20 years from now. But people just factor that in so quickly now. It's like you never get them at a good price. It seems like. Do you think that has to do with the information flow of today's world?
Um, yeah, I mean, it's not. There's a lot of like companies that don't get overvalued, even with that same kind of fast information flow. I think it's more about just like hype cycles and the way people relate to the market. Value is about perceived value. And if you think about the way like the majority of retail investors in the market aren't being like, what's that PE ratio? Is it reasonable, right? The majority are actually being like, how many people are talking about this, right? That is value to them. So, obviously that's what we think about a lot in something like a social sentiment signal and the way we like value things overall. But yeah, I mean, I think I think that creates just like a new kind of extreme momentum because like not only is there more retail momentum, but now there's also more momentum algorithm traders. So it just creates this hype cycle that is a tangible value, right? We see it time and time again.
You want to quickly rehash any of your thoughts on tonight? Sam is asking in our chat the Trump speech. We went in detail in the beginning of the stream, Sam, but if you just want to, bullet point.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty simple. Like, I think the speech itself, I think the market's gonna probably react positively to it. I think that's something I bet on. However, um, I also think like Iran could come out and say something in response to it that could send it really hard the other way. So the one thing I would definitely say is if you're going to buy before the speech. Don't buy as the market's popping like after the speech. I think that's the worst thing that you can do. But like I think it could go down more than it goes up, depending on what Iran says after. And I do think like if Trump is holding this, it's probably to be like a big thing about like how successful it was and how soon Iran's gonna like give up. So I think he's like that's all to say like I think he is going to give Iran a lot to respond to and disagree with if they would like to. But the flip side is like maybe he's doing this because he knows they're far enough along with in the talks that it's going to go well, and Iran's not going to say anything. So it's a tough one, but I'm playing it even long short. I'm actually going to close some. We have Brent and Matt coming on again. You sent them the link, right, Stephen?
Yep, they're ready to go.
At 3:45. And so we will uh we will we'll talk about that with the portfolio.
So I wanted to bring up Beyond Meat today. They are down over 10% right now. Disappointing revenue guidance for them. Now down about 97.5% in the company's history as a public market. And the CEO gave comments that in the article I was reading, which was on a site called Sherwood, which I don't know if anybody's heard of it before, but it was awesome. I had never been on there before today and they had a bunch of great stories. So shout out Sherwood. Check it out if you're interested in stock market news. The equivalent of this was flipping over the table when a board game night is not going well, which I may or may not have done while playing Monopoly a time or two. But the CEO of Beyond Meat said, kind of blamed American society for the company's struggles. And it just doesn't seem, it seems like a guy who's going out swinging and kind of knows he's on his way out, maybe. Beyond Meat obviously hasn't worked with the stock's performance, but as a CEO, I feel like you kind of just can't blame society, right? Like you have to build your company to succeed in the way society works, right? Like I don't know. How do you feel about that comments? Do you think it's the end of days for Beyond Meat?
Oh, I mean, it's so lame. Like, and it's just like, yes, tastes have changed, but he's also being a moron because like there's so many like junky foods and like unhealthy foods that people are cutting down on because of these GLPs. So the idea that tastes are changing against him is dumb. Like what made his product fail is it wasn't healthier than meat. It just wasn't meat. Like but that's not enough. Like the sodium levels were crazy, which is like, a major problem in food. Like the health, like, I mean, versus red meat, it's kind of a similar health profile, and red meat's kind of the worst meat. In terms of health, but like, yeah, like you're not like, if people are looking to be like healthier, they'll have chicken, like not Beyond Meat. So it's just like, even if it was true, like I agree with your point where it's like evolve, evolve your strategy to suit the needs of the people. Don't blame people for not liking your product. But beyond that, um, that's not his problem. Like the problem is the product, not the people. Like definitively.
Yeah, agreed there. So we covered that OpenAI trying to entice funds to invest in them, private funds, for that 17.5% guaranteed rate. It looks like they were actually able to get a funding round through. It valued them at $852 billion in total, which makes them more valuable than McDonald's, Disney, Boeing, Uber, Comcast, and Ford when you combine them all together, which is just incredible to see when you think about the decades, if not like century, for some of those companies of history and brand impact and value. The fact that OpenAI, which essentially it might be older, but with ChatGPT is when it really came to the forefront, which was like 3 years ago, is now on its way to a trillion and valued more than those six. Do you think this is in the SpaceX category? Is this a juiced valuation, or do you think it's worth it with the tech that they offer?
Um, I mean, first of all, like what a big change from Monday when we were talking about um the difference between like a high interest rate. But no, like I think it's like, I mean, how much money does like Sam Altman need before you're just like, he doesn't appear to be doing as well as Anthropic with less. Like I don't understand why you keep betting on that horse. I mean, probably because one of his best things is capital raising, and it's probably just like, some of these, like he went for more high net worth individuals in this round, and some of those people I think just want to be like, it's a status thing. Like I'm in OpenAI. I can call up Sam Altman if I want. Like, um, so like, yeah, and I mean, that's the thing. Like, they're gonna go public, like they're gonna be around. Like, are you gonna make a great return from here on out? Maybe. Um, you might take a little loss, but like you could probably get out at a small loss after they go public. Maybe you lose 20 or 30%. And you can say that versus the upside of, maybe they take control again, and you can say that like, you bet on the turnaround and they're, whatever. But no, I think it's dumb. Like I like if I had $1 billion to put in OpenAI, I would be calling up Anthropic and being like, "Can I just give you this money? Like, what's the valuation? Like, will you do it lower than this? Here's $1 billion." Like, that's what I would do with my billion. And I think anyone that doesn't do that is kind of a moron.
Is Microsoft to OpenAI what China is to Iran in the situation we were talking about before, where maybe we've seen Microsoft stock really like struggling more than the others? Maybe they were pulling some strings behind it to try and get this through.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Amazon invested in it too, which is interesting. I guess they're just like, maybe you're starting to hear more about like other deals, maybe things between them and Anthropic. Uh, Maybe Bezos is a little mad that his friend Donald was spurned by Dario. Uh, could be these games of intrigue are getting interesting.
I think we have maybe time. Brent's not in here yet, so we'll go for maybe one more topic and then probably do the Birdie Bunch switch over. This one was from the Discord. It was a question about time series graphs when they're super volatile for net option sentiment for a stock. The one that was given in this question was AppLovin, swinging between 90s and 30s. how do you think about the stock, the investment, if you're seeing such a wild swing for NOS in the time
Um,
series?
most most of the time, what that's gonna mean is there's thinly traded options. Like a lot of the times you actually see them go by the same pattern. So like you might like what you're picking up is like they're up more towards the end of the day and lower towards the beginning of the day. Like basically you are witnessing institutions that are swing trading the same options. And if they're thinly traded, they're going to move the net option sentiment a lot more. But like for more practical advice, like I would call that inconclusive and I would stay away from it. Like I wouldn't bet on those. Like I wouldn't bet on those stocks, especially in the short term. If you like it long term, you can kind of ignore that noise. Same rules, right? If the upside's good, just be like, whatever. Like I like this stock. But if you're thinking about it at all in the short term, I'd stay away.
So we have one more Discord question that we'll keep for Monday. It was about an AI automated trading um, from Public.
Oh, that'd be
So
a good one. Yeah, I wanna.
yeah, we'll save that. But now we could bring Matt and Brent to the stage. I don't know if I need to do this or you guys can do it on your own. I will. Hello,
One of us
Matt.
does.
Welcome. Hello, Brent. Welcome. All right, we're in the quad box. I feel like this is like NFL red zone here.
We
It's very
got
fun.
the whole portfolio team.
Who's going to
Again.
score first?
Matt's gotta work on his background though.
Yeah, I do, man. Man,
Just get a
I'm
digital one like me.
Mine's
I'm
too bright.
52. How do I do that? Let me see.
Cover something here.
Well, first you need a different camera, like a real computer and a camera. Second,
I'm on my phone, man.
at least get some art. You
Hey,
know,
you like my shirt though? This is like the redneck version
I
of.
do like your shirt. Yeah, good job on that.
Thank you.
But yeah, just like maybe one painting, you know, like in your line of sight. No, that's good. Yeah, there you go.
I'll just hold it right here.
Well, yeah. All right, let's jump in. We got work to do.
Yeah.
How's everything looking?
So I guess we'll start with momentum scores. So let's see, long wise, actually everything's looking pretty good. The long book is solid. Meta still rocking at 75 momentum, which is one of the higher ones that we usually see. Generally, like we get like low 70s or high 60s. So, and that's actually up from earlier today. So, yeah, everything is good. MPC is down at 51, of course, with energy selling off some. That's not a huge surprise, but technically still above 50, so that's good. As far as the shorts go, again, of course, with the market up, we got our rings, RNG, and AVGO both at 61. So those look like probably the best.
Definitely time to take the loss on. Yeah, I think probably on both of those. Like,
yeah, and I did ask the AIs about those as well, and they agreed.
all right,
Yeah,
cut our losses. Yeah, net social 91 on AVGO. I don't know if anybody out there knows what's going on with that.
Well, I saw something the opposite. I guess Marvell had something come out that they thought, I saw at least, Kramer thought that should be negative for AVGO for Broadcom, but I'm assuming with the market, it just pulled it.
What's going on with TDY?
TDY still looks okay. It's getting up there. It's in the high 40s, but AI did not suggest getting rid of TDY. So, but it is, let's see where we at. It is, it's up 6% total. So it is a loss.
My instinct is maybe to de-risk. What are Voyager, PPTA, POWL, and ASTS's momentum scores?
So, let's see. Voyager's at 51, so that's low. PPTA 62, ASTS 64, PAL 65.
Voyager 61.
Yeah. ASTS was one that the AIs suggested probably taking profits on if they're there.
I mean, my instinct might be just to take these two wins at Voyager and PPTA just to de-risk
Okay.
a little bit. Or maybe what's POWL? And I can look in.
And I just saw on X that the prime minister or president or whatever of Iran is writing a letter to the American people. Have you heard this? It was on Kobayashi letter, which was a pretty
Yeah.
legit. And they're saying that they're gonna release it right before Trump speaks. So
Yeah, I think that's what I think that's what helped that market. We were talking, Steven was talking about, we saw that sell off kind of, it seemed to coincide right around with that time.
that would make
Got it.
sense.
And
Yeah,
also
so
came out saying that they're not expected to announce a withdrawal tonight, but a wind down over the next couple of weeks, which to me seems like the same thing, but I don't know what people were expecting. So yeah. Let's
So yeah, that's my instinct. We get out of. I do like Voyager, but it's just a risk asset, and I think we just trim risk. Yeah, it's down
Yeah.
to 81 net option sentiment right now. So yeah, let's get out of Voyager and PPTA. Let's take those wins.
Okay.
Oh, PPTA is at 96. I don't know if we can do that. 96 net option sentiment, 88 upside.
Yeah, it's been looking fantastic in the numbers. I was hoping ASTS would stay positive, but it went back to the red.
Yeah. Maybe we trim. I mean, ASTS is looking really good too. What about POWL? Man, they don't look too good right now. All right, we're just gonna have to balance it out on the shorts. Let's get out of Voyager to like cut the risk a little bit.
Okay.
And then
Lennar looks okay, but I mean Lennar.
and then let's just get out of like Fultz. I think it's time to cut our losses, and we took a. Let me look at net option sentiment. We should definitely get out of RNG and Broadcom.
Okay. Yeah.
It's just time. I think we'll hold Volt just because it's
it's
that option sentiment keeps going down.
Yeah, it had popped earlier, momentum score wise, but it's back down to 36. So it's declined through the day. So I look at that as
Okay, so we'll get those two, and then we should definitely replace them with two other tech companies that are currently low in momentum score.
Yeah.
Probably large cap. You got any pitches for that?
Let's see. The one that came up as the highest for both right now was Werner Enterprises, but that's obviously not really.
Yeah, I mean, if we're
Great.
holding on to these like risk assets, I really want to
work on something in tech.
Yeah.
All right, let's see here. So what scored high or low was BR and ADP, but the AIs did not care for that. BR
Those aren't like
maybe,
traditional tech either.
yeah.
What about
CDW?
Electronic Arts.
I looked at EA at entering EA yesterday, but the chart it didn't really do much. I look back even at the last month.
Yeah, it's got a merger. Like it's not. I don't think it's worth it.
Yeah.
I like right now. I can't get the momentum score report on the computer. Did you do the thing where you look for just tech?
Yeah, I can do it right now. I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Tell me what's large cap, low momentum score tech.
Okay, let's see here.
Because we need that to like balance. Well, actually, we could do one large and one like smaller.
So I mean, CDW is 26. That's pretty low. Let's see here. Oops, we got that's low. Like, see, ADP, but I didn't like it.
I think CDW is viable.
Yeah, we got 33 net options, 37 upside.
Yeah, let's do CDW as one of them.
Okay. And let's see what else we have here. Let me just try and run some of these real quick. Can. Oops. Have you seen anything interesting, Matt? Like when you're looking through the day?
You know what, man? There was lots of stuff looking interesting until the market fell off a cliff,
Yeah.
which it's currently doing. I do not like the looks of what SPY is doing right now. It's kind of topping out at about 657, 658. And it just had a pretty gnarly red reversal candle. So it's going to be interesting. Hopefully it'll turn around pretty quick, but people are definitely hedging into this
Yeah.
evening.
Yeah, I'm with George on that. I sold some of my longs today that have jumped and added some of my hedges.
Yeah, I mean, I feel good about. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 longs, and then we'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 shorts. Yeah, I feel good about that. I think Iran could really fuck with this momentum.
Let's see, just finishing this.
Oh, see, we haven't picked the second short yet.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. SPSC comes up, or SPT. Let's see. Is the favorites on our list. So SPSC is
SPT now. It's one of those like descenders.
SPSC 30 momentum, 23 upside, 43 net options. So it's a little higher net options, but the upside's not very good. Let's find about it. Yeah, it's kind of been on the downtrend and then popping a bit with the market, but not too much. Only up 2%.
Which one?
SPSC.
Yeah, okay. Commerce now, I don't like it. It's more like traditional tech.
Let's see.
Like a chip, like one of the like go for like a big like chip.
Okay.
Like
Just looking down the list. Yeah.
like normally there's at least like one larger cap chip. Oh, we lost Matt.
I'm here. I'm just looking at something real quick.
Chips, but
So, man, I just looked at SOX, which is the chip ETF, and it's up significantly today. It's at 44. It's at 3. It was at 3 yesterday, so I don't know. That's intriguing to me.
Yeah, I mean, QQQ is up. Maybe they know something we don't, and we should stay away from. Maybe we just keep it 5-5.
Yeah, there's nothing. Yeah, nothing in the momentum scores like
we've been just burned. We've been like POWL and ASTS and PPTA could all get slammed tomorrow. That's what I'm worried about.
Are all of the picks we're discussing for the trading or investing newsletter?
Investing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
none of the big names are on the, I think probably because we've had such good momentum. So none of them are very low on the list. Really, like I said, D-Dog is like the next, that's not even INFY, so not really chips.
Yeah, I mean, what's the momentum score? I mean, no, it doesn't look any good.
Yeah, nothing stands out. Let's see.
We got to make
BLKB, and that's a software, I think, right?
Small cap 40.
They've been on the downtrend.
Yeah, that could be it.
Let's see what I do here.
I mean, that's just, that could go. I mean, I guess it didn't pop today.
Yeah.
It looks bad.
Yeah, the chart is, I mean, considering it's still down almost 4% the last 5 days.
All right, let's just go with that.
Okay.
Yeah, but that could flip if the market, but like, yeah, we'll be careful. All right. I think that's everything. I got another meeting to jump to.
Cloud computing. Okay. I will get those 3 exits and 2 re-entered. And if you're on the stream, you already got, right? Early access.
Brent, why don't you recap everything in case somebody missed something?
All right. So yeah, we're going to exit VYGR.
Stephen,
Signals look good,
we lost
but I what's that? Can't hear me.
Can you hear him, Stephen? Huh.
Oh yeah, Steven, I heard you, but I didn't hear anything from you either.
Hello, hello.
Okay,
There we go.
now I got you. Okay, must have been when George left. He messed it all up.
Can y'all hear me okay?
Yeah, so exiting VYGR, which we just entered, but the signal still look good, but I'm okay with that. Like what George said, and what I said too, just taking profits right now, because especially with the Trump, everything tonight, who knows what's going to happen. And then exiting RNG and Avgo, just momentum's flipped. And even before, they were unfortunately not. Kind of caught them at the back end. And then we're going to enter in CDW and BLKB to sort of replace those to keep our even long short with, going into everything this week. And then hopefully we'll have some more clarity tomorrow and this will change again and we'll be all long, but I doubt it. The market wasn't, exactly performing great before Iran war stuff started anyway. So I'm not sold. But yeah, so I'll get that stuff out. Any
We
questions?
shall see.
Do we have any questions in the chat?
Matt, you can't hear Brent?
I couldn't.
How about now?
Was he asking me a question?
No.
Okay.
You didn't miss.
Yeah,
you didn't
I
miss
can't hear him.
much.
I can hear you. I don't know what's going on.
We probably don't have too much longer anyway. Probably not a big deal. I'm
Yeah.
sure
Alright.
if you left and came back in, it might reset it.
Oh, that's all right, man. I'm good. Well, hey, you guys have an amazing time and yeah, hide your wife and kids, man. I don't know what's about to happen with tonight. It's crazy. It's interesting. I'll say this and I'll get out of y'all's hair. Pretty big sell-off into close, but tech is showing some interestingly strong net option sentiment behind the scenes. As we said, SOX jumped like 35 points. That's semis, Meta's looking really good. But so anyway, I guess it beats being bored, huh?
Yeah, exactly. Rip
Yeah.
your face off rally.
There we go.
Yep.
Hey, y'all have a great evening. We'll talk to you soon.
Yep. Thank you,
Alright.
Matt. Well, I don't even
Alright.
see any questions for us, Brent. So I think
Okay.
we're pretty much good.
All right. Well, yeah, I'm just getting everything put in the chat for the letter, and then get out to everybody, and then we'll see.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense. Thanks all. You are welcome. It looks like this is like a regular Wednesday thing. We're going to be doing it. It seems like. So everybody, hopefully you enjoyed it. A little
Yeah.
insight. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we'll get it dialed in a little better.
No, we got a good operation already. But
Yeah.
that is going to be it. See you guys back here Monday, 11 a.m., Wednesday, 3 p.m. normal schedule next week. Have a good, if everybody's celebrating the holidays over the weekend, enjoy the day off on Friday. We got a long weekend, and see you back here next week, everybody. Thank you, Brent. Thank you, chat. See you guys soon.